Good evening. It is Paul Adams here from Small Crown Productions. Welcome to this video where we are going to write a Valentine's Day love sonnet live. This is going to be a pretty generic love sonnet tonight. So this is obviously something that we want to write that is going to portray a feeling of love and adoration. But I'm writing this as a general sonnet so that anyone could use it. So we're going to jump straight in and start writing it. And so let's jump in. I'll show you my screen here. So I've got completely blank page. I haven't started writing this sonnet at all. I want you to go through this whole creative process with me because if you need to write a sonnet or want to write a sonnet, having experienced this creative process may help you do your own sonnet. Of course, if you want to use the sonnet we end up with at the end of this, I will pop a copy of the finished sonnet in the description below once the video is finished processing and all of that on YouTube. But you will also be able to purchase the sonnet on my Etsy store as a finished high quality PDF that you can print off in full color with a custom hand drawn border by visual artist Tallulah Cunningham. She's provided me 3 different types of borders for the sonnets that I write. And if you want to purchase a sonnet in a high quality PDF that you could print off and frame and give as a gift, then there'll be a link in the description for that as well. So without any further ado, let's start brainstorming this sonnet. So so we know it's a love sonnet. So we're writing about love. I don't want to be too gender specific because I want anyone to be able to use this. And so I'm actually planning to write a few different sonnets that will touch on different themes. But what are we going to do with this one? We'll start with this one being pretty generic. So let's throw some ideas down about the general kind of references that people will reference when they think of a love poem. So we're talking stars, we're talking the sun, the moon, ocean, some kind of animal, as in like a majestic dolphin. I know that most people don't think of majesty when they think of dolphin, but a dolphin was actually very high in the order of the great chain of being from the Elizabethan period. So dolphins are pretty cool. In reality, depending on how we want to take this, we could really kind of go to town and make it really funny and kind of have comparisons to things like snails and go a real opposite. So you can play this really straight and go down the, there are these things in the world that are really, really beautiful, but you are more beautiful than them. Or you could go, these things are in the world and they make the world a really crappy place, but you make the world a really amazing place. So you could play that opposite. And so the turn in the sonnet could be something that actually brings it from a negative to a positive. So, in case you're not aware, a Shakespearean style sonnet is 14 lines long, and it's essentially 3 quatrains, which are 4-line stanzas, and then a 2-line rhyming couplet at the end. And there is something in it called a turn, which gives it a different spin, and that always happens at either line 9, which is the beginning of the 3rd quatrain, or line 13, which is the rhyming couplet at the end. So you can decide if you want to do 2 verses of the intent and then turn it. And then the rhyming couplet has this amazing ability to be something that kind of wraps it all together as a summary of how you feel. Or you can do 3 full stanzas of the thing that you're aiming to do, and then the rhyming couplet becomes the turn and flips it all on its head. So, there's a couple of different ways that you can go. So we'll kind of work that out as we write. I'm not exactly sure which way we're going to go yet. I literally wanted to write this from scratch. I haven't thought really about anything except that this is a love poem. It's a love sonnet. So I'm always a fan of the stars and the heavenly bodies and that kind of thing. So let's actually pop that in there as well. Heavenly bodies. It'd be good if I could spell. So that would be good. Let's pop that back. Just in case anybody jumps on while I am streaming. All right, so what are we going to compare our lover to? So it's always great to kind of be as extreme as you can in some respects, because then the final intent, that final moment, that turn has way more power to it. So that's always a fun thing to do. So what do we want to focus on? Do we want to focus on the majesty of I'm going to stick away from animals for now, because I'll be honest, I'm not a huge animal follower. So I could kind of dig into some animals, but I'd probably be really kind of scratching at some ideas, and I'd have to probably do a little bit more research just to feel comfortable about that. I mean, obviously we've got flowers and that sort of stuff. So flowers are another thing that you could do. You could go through a couple of stanzas of flowers, do a rose, do uh, the buds of May, kind of pull out some of the buds of May that even Shakespeare refers to. But you could do three stanzas of a different flower on each stanza, and then use the turn in the rhyming couplet to say all of these flowers. Yes, they're beautiful, but you are more beautiful, and that you are the combination of all of the things that are good about them in one petal of life. You can basically find a way to bring all of that together and go, well, yes, these three individual things are amazing, but you are all of them combined and more. So that's one kind of spin that you could put on it, which is that's actually quite kind of nice. Because then, if you were going to deliver this as a love sonnet on Valentine's Day, you could deliver it with a bouquet of roses and carnations and some other flower. I'd have to do a bit of research on some flowers, because clearly I only ever really know roses. um, Daisies, I don't know. But that would be a spin that you could do, and then you could combine that with a bunch of flowers that is made up of the three flowers that you talk about in the sonnet. So that would be a cool idea. That's one way that you could do it. So what are some things? Do we want to do the turn at line 9 or line 13? I'm not sure. That kind of tends to shape itself out for me. What I do like to start with is finding that thing that I'm going to contrast. There's some pretty classic things, stars and the sun and the moon. That's a really great triptych, three things that kind of all go together in that sort of heavenly body thing. Actually, that's funny. That's funny. We could talk about the heavenly bodies and then actually play on that and say your heavenly body. So there's a way that we could spin that. Oh, I like that. That's cool. Not that we want to focus just on the physical beauty, but you would play into that whole sense of doing that in two lines, because you'd go the sun in one, the stars in another, the moon in another. But then you'd only have the two lines to kind of pull all that together and basically say that, yes, you're physically beautiful, but it's the beauty of your heart and your emotions and what you bring to my life that makes everything worthwhile. So that would be a bit of a challenge to kind of wrap that up in two lines. Definitely doable. Definitely doable. Cool. So let's make a decision. Cool. Let's go with heavenly bodies, and I'm taken with that idea of the heavenly body being a play on the words. So this will obviously be for people who have a love in their life who they think also has a heavenly body. Hopefully that's everyone. Cool. So we're going to go. It's fairly regular that people would say the sun, the moon, and the stars, and I kind of think that works. So we could go stanza 1 is the sun, stanza 2 is the moon, stanza 3 is the stars, and then the rhyming couplet is the turn. So that would be our structure. So we want to tell a little story now inside each of these quatrains. So we've got 4 lines to talk about the sun. So what are we going to do? We're going to say that the sun is bright and beautiful. It's going to bring sunlight. It's going to bring vision and clarity. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. So it goes a little bit more beyond just the physical presence of the sun. That the fact that the sun brings the daylight not only brings a light to my eye, it brings a light to my soul, because I have clarity not only of thought or vision, not a clarity of vision. I also have clarity of direction. I know where I'm heading in life because of the sun. But you are actually the thing that gives me more direction in life. So we could play on that. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen anyone think about or talk about the sun. I'm not saying it's never happened before, don't get me wrong. I've not seen anyone talk about the sun in that term, that sense of the sun giving vision, lighting my path, and giving my life direction, because it helps me see those things. And so the sun, we get to compare that into the way that we see life, because it helps us see. So that could be interesting. Cool. The moon. Well, the moon is the thing that gives us, brings brightness to the night sky. And so in turn, what we're saying is it brings light into the dark. So you could say something about the star, the moon, being something that helps guide us from the depths. Yeah. So the darkest depths to a lighted path. So again, we're going to dig a bit deeper into our emotional connection to this, rather than it just being about the brightness of the sun, the moon. The moon's bright, and it sort of speaks of love. You get the goddess Diane and all that kind of thing. But I think if we can go that layer deeper on this, that'd be kind of cool. So we'll try and bring something about the brightness that it brings to the night, the way that you bring lightness to my darkest soul, that you are the only light in the darkness of my soul. I am evil, you are not, and you make me a better man because of that. You are light, I am darkness. You make me a better person, because we're going gender neutral in this, so that a girl could give it to a boy could give it to a girl, or a girl could give it to a girl, a boy could give it to a boy, or somebody who is gender fluid or neutral could give it to anybody else. It's just about you being a person and me being a person, because then this is kind of able to be used by anyone. Wouldn't matter what age you are, wouldn't matter anything else. It's just about, being kind of non-specific around that, so that we've got just a nice generalized kind of discussion about it. But the content of it goes a little bit deeper than just going, hey, the sun's really hot and you're hot, the moon's really bright and you're bright, and the stars sparkle and you sparkle. It takes a little bit deeper than that, which would be good. Cool. I like that. So we're going to talk about the moon representing how you bring light into the darkest parts of my life. Or write that down. You bring light into the darkest parts of my life. Now, you may already be thinking, and you can start to hear through this, that in a way, these 4 lines of each of these quatrains may actually have a reference to the person that we're writing about, in that what we're saying is that the sun gives vision. So in these quatrains, I could actually say, the sun gives vision, but you give me a better vision. The moon gives me a lightness into my soul, a lightness into the darkness of the night. You are the light that comes into my soul, and you bring the light into the darkest parts of my life, if I'm going to read the line there. And then the stars in a similar way. And so we can actually mention the person here. And then the turn on this could simply be something about the fact that all of these things are separate. And, you can't necessarily, that the stars are separate to the moon, and the moon and the sun, are rarely seen together. But yet all of these things are in you in one place. And so although these heavenly bodies are spread out and separated, oh, that could get really, really crass. That although they're all spread out and separate, all of these things actually live in you in one place. And so that could be the turn, that all of these amazing things that nature, we'll use nature, has brought, actually live and are fully contained just in you. So that's kind of cool. So we might do that. We might go with that, because I kind of like that. So the turn, and I say that now, that could totally change. All these heavenly bodies are separate, and the word disparate came to mind. I need to look that up. So actually, let's what does disparate exactly mean? Because of course I always have my two other websites that I use all the time for this, RhymeZone and thesaurus.com. So let's get a definition, or other words for disparate. Contrasting, discordant, dissimilar, distinct, diverse, various. What's dictionary say? Distinct in kind, essentially different, dissimilar. Yeah, disparate. That's a really cool word. You can see I've been looking at lighting lighting grids for my lights. Yeah. Anyway, being separate and distinct from each other. Okay, so these heavenly bodies, disparate in form. Let's write that. These heavenly bodies, disparate in form. I think that's too many syllables. If we take out the these and just make it heavenly bodies, that's 10. So that's actually an iambic line there. Heavenly bodies, disparate in form. That's interesting. That's interesting. What rhymes with form? We don't like the word form. We might not go with form. Let's question mark that. I didn't know about form. Form might not be what we want, but we've got a good shape now. Okay, cool. So the sun gives us vision, lights my path, gives me direction, but you give me a clearer direction for my life, and you make me want to live a better life. That could be cool. All right. So the stars. Let's go. The stars. They shine brightly. They can only be typing. Can only be seen at night, whereas your brightness can be seen at all times. There. So I'll think about that. There's a little bit more depth that we can get in there. What is the brightness? What does the brightness represent? So that is it joy? Is it peace? No, not peace. Look, it's there is a peacefulness and a tranquility. There is a, what does it represent? What does that brightness represent? What does this brightness represent? Peace, joy, wonder, amazement. Again, bad spelling. Awe. Awe is always good. That's a big word. Okay. Brightness to the night sky, light in the dark. Darker steps to a lighted path. You are the light, I'm the darkness. Yep. Cool. All right. So, the other thing that I want to be careful of in this is not to use too many Shakespeare-y words or words that people have to think too much about. Like disparate, for me, it's a word that it is a sort of more complex word in its meaning, and people might have to stop and think about what that means. There are probably a lot of people out there that don't know what that means, but it sounds enough like separate that you get the feeling of it and the sense of it. And then matching that with the other line in the rhyming couplet, you would kind of help clearly define what that word means to somebody. So the point I'm making here is that what I want, particularly with this sonnet, is for somebody to not have to think too hard about what the words mean, which will be a distraction from the emotional response that it creates. So for this particular one, I want it probably to keep the terminology a little bit simpler so that it can be consumed more easily, and it's more the rhythm and the pace and the sense of emotion that comes through the text that has the stronger effect on someone. When I do these as personalized sonnets, um, they often won't make sense to anybody else that reads them unless they really know that person, because they're so specific to that person. And you can use language in those that people will go away and look at. I mean, I always provide a bit of a summary of what everything means anyway, but you can go that kind of deeper level of more I'm just going to kick the camera, more complex language, because they it's something that they're going to really ponder over. They're going to really look at it, and they're going to go a bit deeper on that, because it is so specific to them. They want to take the time to go through and understand every word, and it makes a massive difference when there's hidden gems in there. But for something like this, that A is also being written as a more generic kind of sonnet, don't want to go too hard with the language and too complex with the language as a starting point. Yeah. So anyway, that was my point with that. So that being said, let's see if we can't start knocking out some quatrains. So we've got our notes here. We know the first quatrain is going to be about the sun, so we'll start punching that in here. So what is it about the sun? I know that somewhere I've sort of used the line about the sun only being seen but once a day, so I don't want to use that again. So basically we're saying, what are we saying in here? We're saying that each day my steps are lit by something. Don't know what that is, which means I can't rhyme it yet either. A path so clear to know where foot should fall. So basically we're saying that each day my steps, and specifically my physical steps, are lit. Each day my steps are lit by by might not be. I want to basically allude to the sun there. That's why I've got the word by, because it's by the sun. So it could be from, but by I think is nicer. Each day my steps are lit by sunny beams. It's a little bit childish, not very romantic. Brightest beams. So we need something that's going to be kind of cool imagery about the sun, that says the sun, but not using the word the sun. I want to avoid using the word the sun if I can. Orb. Orb is always nice. By flaming orb. No, that's not what I want. So it still has to be something soft and light in its feeling, because that's the sense I want to create, this sense that the sun is guiding me, and yet that could be interesting. An idea that I'm making the connection between these two things when I walk. So if I say each day my steps are lit by whatever, a path so clear to know where foot should fall, something like each step I take, I obviously won't use each step I take, to make it redundant, but that idea that let's get the concept of the line out. Each step I take brings my thought to you. Each step I take brings my thought to you. That's not it. Let's go. Each step I take, my thoughts. I've got fall here. Each step I take, my thought. That's another word for step. Let's go to our thesaurus.com. Let's go to thesaurus. Let's get another word for step. Stride, gait. Advance. Oh, advance. I like it. What else we got? Ambulate, to walk about. I know I said I didn't want to use complex words, but that's a cool word. Traipse. Ooh. Could it be that the sun lights everything, which means I can walk in any direction, but you bring light to my path and I know where I should go? So it's rather than just being able to wander anywhere, the sun gives me light so that I can go wherever I want, but you give me purpose and you basically show me how to live my life. That's cool. Oh, I like that. We might actually just then drop out the sun in here. So let's go round 2. The sun lights up everything. I can go anywhere by its light, but you bring light to my purpose. I know where I should go because of you. I like that. And then we can bring a kind of similar thought through the moon doing a similar thing, bringing light to the darkest night. I don't try and necessarily go light and bright, but night. Yeah. Okay. I think if we can get this first one, we'll be on a bit of a flow. Oh, yeah. So that's cool. Yeah. All right. So let's go with each day anew the sun doth light the world. And we might change that to earth, globe, some other thing. So again, we're talking in big picture, and then the end of the quatrain brings it back to little picture, personal, global, personal. So we're getting a bit of a journey through each quatrain as well. Not only are we getting a journey through every part of the sonnet, like we're getting a journey through the entire sonnet, we're actually getting a journey through every quatrain as well, which just gives it so much more kind of strength and power in the emotional delivery that it can provide. Okay, so I'm gonna drink some more coffee. Allowing me to go whichever way, but you bring light. You shed a light upon my soul's something, and guide that's better. So let's get let's use soul in here and use doth down there, and guide my soul so it doth never stray. So we might actually go, but you have light that shines from deep within to guide my soul so it doth never, or that guides my soul so it may never stray, or so it doth, that guides my soul so it doth never stray. And we get the alliteration of the S's in that line, which is also not a bad thing. Straying way, allowing me to go whichever way. I like that. Allowing me to go whichever way. That's 10. Yep. And it's got the flow. It's got the iambic pen about it. Within. Each day anew the sun doth light. Let's find a word that rhymes with within. Well, we just go within, but we'll say in. No, I want rhymes. Find rhymes. Oh, 1 syllable, 2 syllables. It's been so long since I've actually sat and written a sonnet. Bin, chin, fin. So we're talking about something global in the world. Akin, boxed in. What's the word I'm looking for? And urine? I don't know what that is. A rolling pin. So obviously everything that ends with in. So I need something that. Well, let's go back to synonyms and let's find something for world. Earth, nature, cosmos, creation. We could play on the false rhyme. Lights all of creation. You get the false rhyme of creation in the Australian vernacular slang, sort of our terrible accent that we're playing on, because that's what a big part of this is that, you know, I can write a sonnet here that plays on the Australian pronunciation of words, which is lazy. We are very, very lazy. And I could get the rhyme through the actual pronunciation and create a false rhyme that would actually work. So each day anew the sun doth light creation. Could end with creation, but you have light that shines from deep within. Obviously, sun anew each day anew the sun. Creation. It's not a great ending is the problem. A 3-syllable ending's not going to be nice. Each day anew the sun. Each day anew the sun. Yeah, that's going to be what, 6? So I've only got 4 creations, 3. It gives me 1 word. Each day anew the sun lights creation. Ugh, clunky as hell. Don't like it. Creation. What else can we get? What else can we get? What else is there? I like creation. Again, because it's huge. It's big. How can I end with a nice, like, creations? Just think I need possibly a 2-syllable word that runs into a 3-syllable word, because every time I come into in my brain running a single syllable into a 3-word syllable to end the line, it's feeling very clunky. Can I get something back that becomes a better flow into into creation? Each day anew the sun. No, let's get rid of each day anew the sun. Sun. It's something as simple as the sun that lights all of God's creation, allowing me to go whichever way. Again, doth fade. Beside the light. Doth fade compared. I was thinking compared to your light from deep within, but too many syllables. I could just say fades. Or is naught. Gainst. I could go gainst rather than against, rather than beside, compared. Gainst gets me to a single syllable. Just drop the A off against and put an apostrophe there. It's quite common. Could almost go from the start. Against your light. Let's attach it to you, your light that shines from deep within. Actually have all of that already there. We could change that. I think it almost needs to be fades against, and we can drop that back to just against if I need to, because fades against is quite a nice ba-bump, ba-bump. And again, I think we need to put your in there. It needs to be your light. Or if we go fades against light from in your soul, eyes, heart. Ooh. Can we go? Can we go yellow brick road on this? Can we go heart, brain, soul? Yeah. Yeah, so there's another layer of connection as well. So we can go the sun and the light that comes from your soul, the moon that comes from your heart, and the stars. Something about the mind. That could work. That's actually a really cool extra layer of connection and thought through this as well. So I reckon if we go moon and mind, not because of the alliteration, but because the moon is generally a softer light. And when I think of the word softer, I think of kind, and mind, a rhyme that I could use at the ends of lines. It was almost a whole rhyming thing in itself. So if we go sun and soul, moon and mind, talk softness and, you know, in the darkness of the world, your kindness shines like the moon that cuts through the dark. No, but that's not mind, is it? We're talking kindness then. So we're talking personality traits. I want to say that your soul is pure, your mind is sharp, your heart is full of giving. So maybe moon and heart. So if we go moon, so kindness and heart. Yeah, so if we go kindness and heart for the moon, and the stars are the purity of your thoughts, or maybe if they're not a pure person, just that what is it about the mind that, you know, it's not necessarily you want to say they're smart. Maybe there's a thing that we could say where nature, oh, a star, a star's brightness dims the further it travels. But your mind, something about the impact, you make by your considered decisions. So we're talking about somebody who's kind here. Will never fade. That's that whole sense of, yeah, the stars will fade when they travel. You know, we're seeing them 10,000 light years away. Not that they knew that necessarily in the same depth that we do back then. And I know this looks like a bit of a mess, but bear with us. It's coming together quite well and actually not too slowly compared to some. But again, this sense of having a direction when we start writing, don't have to stick to it the whole time. We're going to get ideas as we start to work our way through the sonnet, and that's okay. It's actually all about just following those ideas. And as we get something out and onto the page, it's going to spark another thought that might help us get deeper and deeper and deeper. And ideally, if we can layer this sentiment and this idea, and if you read it in one mindset, you'll get one layer of it. If you start to look at differently, you'll see it in a different mindset. You'll see it from a different perspective, and we get those sorts of double meanings and those extra layers of impact out of it, and that's what we want. So, we've got fades up the top again. All right, so we need another word for fades, because I think it'll probably be better use the stars down here. Ooh. Excuse me. So sorry about the yawn. Let's go fade, because we're going to need something about fading. Vanish, disappear, dims, all good words. Fade, dim, diminish, dissipate. All very D's. What else do we have? Vanish, vanish. Let's go with an A. Let's go. Dissolve, disappear. Let's put them in there. They're all good as well. Did I put disappear? No. Disappear and dissolve. I like that. So they're not going to do any of those things. Okay. So okay. All right. So we are getting a little clearer on some of this. So now it's really just starting. Let's start honing this in, I guess. So what am I trying to say in the first quatrain? Each day anew the sun doth light the world, the earth, the globe, God's creation. We won't say God's creation because not necessarily wanting to mention God so that people don't feel like it's a religious or Christian reference. Nature. Nature is something else that we could say there. I kind of want it to be that sense that the light from the sun, in a lot of syllables, lights all that we do see. So that's interesting. Each day the sun lights all that we can see. So now we have see as the rhyme. Allowing me to go whichever way. Allowing me to go whichever way. Or we could go where I choose. So where is the contraction for wherever. So by taking out the V and swapping them around, that's a where I choose is essentially sort of basically saying wherever without the V. So you're kind of pulling out a syllable by removing that word, that letter. I really like that, actually. Allowing me to go where'er I choose. kind of like that. But then I need to rhyme choose. We could flip it. Each day the sun lights all that we can see. And then make it a statement of where'er I choose, my feet could take me there. Where'er I choose, that's somewhere I could go. Oh, maybe we flip this up and say, where'er I choose, where'er I see. So we can take C out there, move it. But basically, what I'm thinking is wherever I think about, wherever I see, my feet could let me stray there. I could go wherever I want. Oh, so actually, maybe it's wherever I want. I could go wherever I want, but I actually want to come to you. And then the moon makes me think that I could. No. That's different. I think that's different. That would work in that quatrain, but then taking that sense through for the others, I don't think that would work because you almost want to have, that sense that so wherever I go, I could go anywhere, but I want to come to you. I could have anyone. Oh, I could think about anyone. Oh, the moon and the mind. So the moon, romantic, could help me think of anyone, but I actually want to think of you. What are the stars doing? No. We're going with the mind down in the stars, weren't we? All right. Yeah, I think that's going to be a completely different sonnet, which I will write. That's totally fine. But let's stick with this. All right. So we're talking the sun lights my path, but you light the direction of my soul. So we're going to stick with that. Cool. So against each day the sun lights all that we can see, allowing me to go where'er I choose. So what's a rhyming word for choose? Let's go choose. Let's see what's available to us. Oh, no, that's the thesaurus. Let's go rhyme zone. Let's go choose. Blues, cruise, muse, M-U-S-E, muse, whose, accuse, abuse, great words, diffuse, confuse, defuse, excuse. Oh, great words. What? 1420s? How is that a rhyme with choose? Oh, because it's it's seen the O's. It's seen the zeros as double O's, 7 twos. Abuse, amuse, confuse. Some great words for choose. Yeah. Okay. What do we want to say? Each day the sun lights all that I can see. Let's bring this back to me and you. All that I can see, allowing me to go where'er I choose. And yet, my eye doth never stray. Choose and views. My eye could never stray from you. My eye could never stray. Choose, use. No, so choose view. We'll go with view. Could. And yet. So choose. That's going to be the fourth. Let me choose row C. C is very easy to rhyme, but I don't know if I want to rhyme it. Each day the sun lights all. See, what else? Another word for see? Perceive, conceive, detect, examine, identify. I need something that's going to be one or two syllables. View, spot, behold. Oh, behold could work. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to go where'er I choose. Almost like a little turn in each line. And though my feet behold, it's a rhyming word for behold, old, gold, cold. Behold. What I'm wanting is something that mold, sold. Buttonhole, mold, common song, manifold, French marigold. No, so I want a word here, I think, that kind of though my feet. So what am I thinking? What am I thinking? So basically, although I could go anywhere, I don't want to. I want to stay with you. So behold might not be the word. And though to farthest reaches, farthest points, farthest something. I could go. I could travel. My eye could never lose you from its view. A bit, I don't like it. It's not very nice. Concept's great. Basically, I could go anywhere and see. Maybe that's it. Allowing me to see the world. I could see the world. I could go anywhere in the world I want. Choose. Okay. Each day the sun lights. Each day the sun lights all that I've been. Allowing me to go where'er I choose. I kind of like that. I kind of like it. I could travel to. I could do something on lengths untold. Like I'm thinking behold untold, as in, like I could go somewhere that no one has ever been before. I could travel further than and travel. It's not my feet and travel and Yeah, okay. So each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to go where'er I choose. Does it allow me? Allowing me to is 5. Allowing me to go where'er I choose. Allowing me to go is 6. Can I add the word travel in there somehow? Is it possible? Um, it's possible. um, I am. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? This is the hard part, working through all of the thoughts and trying to really nail these down. Each day the sun lights all that I behold. So I may travel anywhere I choose. Something like that. So I could travel anywhere I choose. Or I could travel anywhere I choose. I could travel beyond what anyone has done before. Again, beyond could just become yond. We can drop that to a single syllable if we need. A little bit gross. These aren't great lines. Each day the sun lights all that I behold. I do like that. I do like that. Allowing me to. Each day the sun lights all that I behold. So I might travel to the farthest place. That I might journey to some distant land. Ooh, behold, old. But I from this day till I I'll put it crudely, am real old. And it's not iambic. I'm just getting thoughts down at the moment. So I would go, if that's the case. I love this travel to some distant land, but I think this would work better. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I go. I like that. Allowing me to choose where'er I go, land, move. Any of those could work. But from this day, old. How do I get that to? But from this day until my age is old. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I go, allowing me to choose where'er I move. Choose, move. You get the assonance of those. The oo sound in those two, which is kind of cool. Allowing me to choose where'er I move. And yet, I still like that and yet. To behold. We always know that the grass is greener on the other side. So maybe behold gets to rhyme with gold. Each day anew the sun doth light the world. Away, doth fade compared to against your light that shines from deep within, fades against the light from in your soul. This is kind of turned a little bit away from being fading against the light from in your eyes, your soul, your heart. I think we need to get back to that. So I think we want to stick on the travel. I think rather than move, kind of like the idea of wandering or straying, and it's about being brought back onto a clear path. So we may end up with choose, allowing me to wander ere I choose. Wander, as in just wander around. Which kind of has no direction and no clarity. I really like that line. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to wander ere I choose. Let's go back to rhyme zone. What do we have for choose? There was a lot there. Bruise, blues, muse, muse. Muse. Let's try and find a way to use muse. Let me to wonder where I choose. And yet, My path is clear. When I see you, choose you. Hold, mold, gold, fold, behold. Let's go back to behold. Yeah. Behold. Now blues and dews, and did I not search for behold? I mustn't have. Told, mold, controlled, mold, patrolled, bold. What is wold again? That's right. Tract of open land. Ooh, hold. I know it's the same word, but when I but when your gaze, I could make it a running sentence so that it goes into the next line. That would be okay. So each day the sunlight's all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I go, allowing me to wander where I choose. Let's go back to it's simple language. Allowing me to choose where'er I go. I need to then behold. Cold, foretold. Excuse me. Basically, I'm edging towards the idea that I could wander anywhere, I could do anything, I could go any place I want, but that is pointless. And it bears no relevance on my life. It doesn't help me achieve what it is that I need to achieve, whereas you provide direction to my path. So maybe behold is not the right word. Allowing me to choose where'er I go. What am I trying to say? So behold might not be the right word. I think that's the thing. Behold might not be the right word. We might need to change behold out. Each day the sun lights all that I behold. Behold is such a great word, though. Threshold. Ooh. Hmm. Threshold's cool. Ah. Sorry, my brain is churning right now. I don't know if you can hear the cogs turning. But the idea of the threshold, but each time I go to cross, let me choose where'er I go. Yet when my foot doth move to cross threshold. So when my foot goes to move over the threshold and leave the house, when I go to leave. I need to rhyme with go. Ah, no. Ha 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 ha. Let's go where'er I stray. And then the rhyme gets to be stay. One glimpse. What did we say we were doing? Was it heart? No. Soul. My soul. Basically, yeah. So each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I stray. Yet when my foot doth move to cross threshold, my soul, no, it's about you now. The brightness of your soul compels me to stay. That's not right. The brightness of your soul, the brightness of your soul doth make me stay. That's basic and simple and horrible, but it works. We can always come back and pretty it up later. So each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I stray. Yet when my foot doth move to cross threshold, the brightness of your soul doth make me stay. It's simple, it's clean, it's clear. Anyone reading it is going to understand what it means, which is the most important part. Let's drop that down there. And I know it's not I guess that's the thing. I'm used to putting some probably more complex words in there, but I know anyone reading that will understand it. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I stray. Yet when my foot doth move to cross threshold, the brightness of your soul doth make me stay. Actually, that's not too bad. That's actually not too bad. It's taken us, what, an hour and a half, I think, to get there? But that's not too bad. So now it's the compelling pull of all of these things that wants us to go and do something. But now we can't. All right. So we've got quatrain 1 done. So this is going to be a little different in that there's almost a turn in every quatrain, which is unusual. So the turn will need to be kind of more that summary of I think that sense of what we were saying before in the idea that the sun and the moon and the stars are separate parts, but you hold all their glory in your heavenly body. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. So we're still coming back to that idea that we had before about the heavenly bodies being disparate in form or in shape or in thing, in whatever, but you hold all that. Let's put glory down. You hold all their glory in one form. It's only 9, but it's a start, so we definitely know we want to use that. Yeah, so you hold their heavenly glory in one form. Form. I think we've got the rhyming couplet almost sorted, so let's just do that because I think that's where we're headed. Form, no, we want rhymes, not definitions. Swarm, torn, warm. Disparate and torn. They're separate. Form, horn, reform, cruciform, uniform. Uniform is interesting. Uniform, platform. No one too many huge syllables. Perform. I think platform's interesting. What's cubiform? Never heard of that. Shaped like a cube. That makes sense. Fusiform. Fused. I know, tapering at each end. Oh, I'll have to remember that. That's a cool word. Fusiform. Tapered at each end. Okay. Oh, that's a cool word. I wish there was a way I could somehow bookmark that. Let's go copy and let's just stick it in the bottom of this and I'll find a home for it at some point later. That's a cool word. I want to use that word in a sonnet sometime. Anyway, that's definitions. Let's get back into the rhymes. Fundiform, glandiform, plexiform, scutiform, setiform, silver storm, spongiform, thunderstorm, uniform. Swarm, torn, warm. Gorm, Cairngorm. What's Cairngorm? A smoky yellow or brown quartz. Interesting. It's a line storm. A violent rainstorm near the time of an equinox. Well, there you go. A specific name for a storm near an equinox. Transform. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So, something about heavenly bodies that constantly transform. Heavenly bodies that constantly transform. Yet you hold constant glory. You hold their constant glory, yet you, let's just say you hold their constant glory in one form. No, because we're saying they're inconsistent. We don't want their constant. Because they're heavenly. They constantly transform. Yeah. So you hold it. I just literally wrote the same line twice. Unbelievable. Oh, that's funny. So heavenly bodies that constantly transform, you hold their heavenly glory in one form. Doesn't really end on that power punch that I was hoping for. We'll come back to that, but that's where we're headed. So basically, these things, I don't know that these are actually where we're headed, but we're kind of headed there. Let's save this so that we don't have the issue of losing anything. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I stray. Yet when my foot doth move to cross threshold, the brightness of your soul doth make me stay. The brightness softest light, light that shines forth from the dark. The softest light that shines forth from the dark. And sits aloft to guide a lover's heart. Darkened heart, almost an impure rhyme in themselves. Oh, well, we could say night. That's very clear. I mean, I don't know that we know we're talking about the moon yet. The softest light that shines forth from the night and sits aloft to guide a lover's heart. So we know now that sitting aloft is the moon. Ooh, ooh. And though some will use it to night though some will let it guide them into plight. The softness of your heart. The softness that you give, glow, shine, exude, all bad words, but you get the idea, the softness that comes from you. Basically, makes me never want to part. Get that into 10 syllables. Impossible. The softness, the softest light that shines from forth the night. That shines forth from the night. The softest light that shines forth from the night and sits high, aloft. Is aloft high enough for the moon? Is aloft high enough for the moon? Is aloft high enough for the moon? And sits aloft to guide a lover's heart. Yeah, I think so. I think that's nice. And sits aloft to guide a lover's heart. Though some will let it guide them into plight. Again, softness. Let's find another word for softness so we're not being redundant. We don't want rhyme zone. We want thesaurus, soft. Comfortable, comfy, creamy, delicate, easy, spongy. No, let's go softness. Flexibility, malleability, pustability. Man. Lifeblood, difference. Blood donations. Interesting. That went from a Blackmagic 6K Pro camera, which is the camera that I have been heavily investigating recently, because it knows. Is that still on this page? No, got replaced by something else. Oh, Adobe Creative Cloud. I'll never buy that because I'm too cheap to do the monthly subscription. Has flipped this ad to giving blood, which is absolutely necessary because my wife was just in ICU recently. Let us not use softness, pliability, softness. What's another word for softness? Ease, delight, pleasant. What is it? What is it about your heart? That sits aloft to guide a lover's heart. The softest light that shines forth from the night. Oh, we got light and night. So we've got alliteration, which isn't bad. And sits aloft to guide a lover's heart. Though some will let it guide. Oh, we got guide and guide, so we don't want that. We can take, steer, draw. That's more interesting. So it's your heart. So what is it? What did we have earlier? What were the words that we used? Sun, moon. They're all down here. Brightness to the night sky, light to the dark, the darkest depths to a lighted path. Your light, I am darkness. You make me a better person. Your bright light into the dark spots of my heart. But we've kind of shifted this slightly. Basically, we're saying that all of these things could draw me away from you, and yet all I want to do is stay. Plight, night. I like plight because plight says it's, I'm kind of, plight isn't really into, I mean, it's danger, but is it Is it the word? Is it the word that I want? Is it the word? Plight, condition, predicament, quandary, trouble, perplexity, jam. Yeah, bad news, double trouble. Uh, adversity, anguish, calamity, cross. Well, can we just find a better word for night? The softest light. Maybe that brightens up the eve. Shines forth from the night. I kind of like shines forth from the night. And sits aloft to guide a lover's heart. Though some will let it lead them into plight. Yeah, let's do that. So let's get another word for brightness, light, softness. We're looking for something alternate to. Did we do brightness before? We did, didn't we? Brilliant. So the luster. Ooh, luster. Luster is luscious as well. The gloss, the shine. Let's go luster. What's the definition of brightness, brilliance, glitter, glow, shimmer, sparkle? Yeah, I like that. Luster. That's got a little bit of something luscious about it as well. The state or quality of shining by reflecting light, glitter, sparkle, sheen, or gloss, a substance as a coating or a polish, a radiant or luminescence, a luminous brightness. Luster it is. The luster. Luster. Though some will let it lead them into plight. Your luster. Your luster. Let's go from your soul's luster I could ne'er depart. Because we didn't use ne'er earlier, did we? We didn't end up using it. And again, I know we've gotten into a few words here that aren't simple and clear as what they could be. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I stay. Yet when my foot doth move to cross threshold, the brightness of your soul doth make me stay. The softest light that shines forth from the night and sits aloft to guide a lover's heart, though some will let it lead them into plight, from your soul's lustre I could ne'er depart. Little clunky, because it's gone from all souls into la. So we've gone from a long kind of elongated vowel sound straight into a kind of short clipped sound, vowel sound, the short clipped from your soul's luster. Luster. And it's interesting that luster is luscious and all that kind of stuff, but also contains the word lust, which is interesting. So we're not really talking about lust here, we're talking about love. The softest light that shines from forth that shines forth, the softest light that shines forth from the night and sits aloft to guide a lover's heart. Well, let's put not and sit, doth sit aloft to guide. Doth sit aloft to guide a lover's heart. So we're talking just about it. That's what it is. The softest light that shines forth from the night doth sit aloft to guide a lover's heart. Though some will let it lead them into plight, from your soul's lustre I could ne'er depart. Lustre. It just feels out of place. And I think it could be that from your soul's luster. So really, the phrasing's bad. From luster of your soul is a little nicer, but then it changes the syllable structure and the number, yeah, and I'm sort of adding an extra syllable in there, which I don't want later. The softest light that shines forth from the night doth sit aloft to guide a lover's heart, though some will let it lead them into plight. From lustre of your soul I'll ne'er depart. You see, it's still not great. From your soul's lustre I would ne'er depart. Oh, can we go back to w rather than k? So we get the soft w longer sound rather than the plosive k sound. From your soul's lustre I would ne'er depart. That actually sounds better. From your soul's lustre I could ne'er depart. From your soul's lustre I would ne'er depart. That change in in consonant sound actually helps. Yeah. And so we'll add some definitions here in this description below for luster being substance of coating, a state of quality or shining by reflecting light, glitter. Luster is a good word in this context. We can make sure that someone, oh, wow, have I spelled that word that wrong that many times that it's just not showing up in the spell check? All right, so we're almost there. So the softest light that shines from forth the night doth sit aloft to guide a lover's heart, though some will let it lead them into plight. From your soul's lustre I would ne'er depart. Yeah, that's all right. All right, so the stars. Now, I have an interesting thought here because stars are at night, the moon is at night. So we're kind of then having two quatrains that are both talking about the night. So I'm not sure that I want to do that. I'm thinking that maybe we actually talk about that moment where they meet, golden hour, and actually use the phrase golden hour. And basically that the brightest, when day and night doth meet, something about them being combined is their most glorious moment. And we start to bring in this idea of glory and amazing kind of whatever, because we want to wrap up that those heavenly bodies are amazing, but you are all of those things in one form. Oh, or maybe we put the turn here and say that although the sun and the moon are great, what's actually greater is you, because you are like that moment where they come together, and that essentially you are the amazing moment of golden hour, but I get to have that amazing moment every day, every minute of every day. And so we take the stars out because then we're not kind of having day and night, which creates a little bit of imbalance. And yet we go to that moment between the day and the night, and we actually relate you to that. That's cool. I like that. And then what I can do is go, the moon and the stars in another sonnet, so that you've got the two elements of night together and the way that they're different and they light the world differently and they bring a different flavor and a different thing. Like the stars are more kind of direct and penetrating. The moon is soft and welcoming. I think that might be smarter. So the stars might be out here. I kind of like this idea that the brightest part of day and night is when the two doth meet. Interesting. That's cool. That's kind of cool. I kind of like that. So what does that mean? Oh my goodness, look at all of this bad typing down here. Oh my goodness. So what does that mean? Is that never? That should be never. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's a complete shift into the third quatrain. And if we're going to turn that into the turn, that may actually change our rhyming couplet, because I don't know that that's going to actually necessarily continue to work. But anyway, I don't know how long we've been going for. Let's have a look and see. Sometimes these things can take up to 3 hours. And I'm very, very keen to not have this one go for 3 hours if I can help it. I don't know how long this has been going for. Started streaming 106 minutes ago. So that's all right. We're not even 2 hours in yet. Great. We're crushing it. 106 minutes. 60, 40. So we're an hour and 40. We're an hour and 40 minutes in. Great. So we got one quatrain and the rhyming couplet to perfect. So let's get it done. We at this rate, we could crush this out in 2 hours. That'd be awesome. All right. So do I want to go that way? I kind of like the idea of the sun, the moon, and the stars, because they often do go together. Given what would the stars want me to do? The stars are the constellations that we travel by. So they kind of calling. The constellations call me to the sea. We haven't talked about the sea before. I don't want to talk about the sea now. I don't want this to turn into a sailor's thing. But we could talk about direction. The stars that give direction, that kind of thing. Whereas you are the thing that give me direction. So actually, that's kind of cool. So we've talked about the fact that you make me want to stay. You make me want to stay. But here, interesting. Starts interesting. So we've ended up with two quatrains now, two stanzas that basically say that the sun could make me travel, but I don't want to. The moon could make me travel, but I don't want to. And in reality, the stars are designed to. Sorry, let's kick the camera. The stars guide us when we travel. And so I guess in this sense is I could say, but I don't want to use them because I don't want to travel. I don't want to go anywhere. So this is actually not about. So it's funny, isn't it? How they change. So this has actually gone from not anything about you being more glorious than the sun, the moon, and the stars. This has actually become all of these things are a reason to leave, and I don't want to go. So that does absolutely change the rhyming couplet. I think the rhyming couplet, the summary of this sonnet, which is what the rhyming couplet's going to end up being, the summary of this sonnet is that the sun, the moon, and the stars are all things that could help me travel or leave, but I don't want to leave you. That's romantic. That's romantic. Okay, so let's check in. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I stay. That was so Aussie. Where'er I behold. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I stray. Yet when my foot doth move to cross threshold, the brightness of your soul doth make me stay. The softest light that shines from forth the night doth sit aloft to guide a lover's heart, though some will let it lead them into plight, the bed of another lover. From your soul's lustre I would ne'er depart. Night, plight, heart, depart. The stars that guide the ships. Let's keep it to ships and not seamen. Let's not talk about semen in a Valentine's Day poem. The stars that guide the ships to sunken treasure. I'd rather stay with your sunken treasure. The stars that guide the ships. The stars that guide, not ships, us, me. No, they don't guide me. They show the path. The path that I might take to circumnavigate this something world. Though some may make I don't like take again, that short, hard kind of cut off sound in this kind of romantic kind of flow. It's just not going to be right. So I need to find some continuant sounds to continue that nice flow through. Night, plight, depart. Yeah, if you look at that, behold, stray is short, stay and stray is short, but the A sound is elongated. Hold can be elongated. Night, heart, plight, depart, take. You can go take, but it's, you know, it's never said that. It's just take. Did I say path up here? Each day the sun lights all that I behold, and let me choose where'er I stray. Yet when my foot doth move to cross threshold, the brightness of your soul doth make me stay. Your softness doth, the softest light that shines forth from the night, doth sit aloft to guide a lover's heart. Though some will let it lead them into plight, from your soul's lustre I would ne'er depart. Ooh. The stars that show the path to treasures gold. Not great, but usable for now. I haven't got old up there, have I? Plight, night, stay. So, I was using gold or old or behold or something earlier, wasn't I? Control F. Where's the olds? Ah, I did. Idiot. Behold. Yeah, okay. So we don't want gold. We can't use gold. To sunken jewels? To hidden jewels. Or path. I don't think I've got path, plight, and heart. Yeah. So this sonnet is all about things that might take me away from you, that I repel because I do not want to leave you. The stars that show adventurers their path to sunken gold. And fortunes yet untold. Told? Hold. I've already got the old. Can't do the foretold. Untold. Unknown? To sunken treasure. To sunken treasures. Hidden. If I do world. Sight. I did it, didn't I? I can't do plight. I can't do sight because I've got plight and night. So I was thinking hidden from our sight. Oh, past? Yeah, past. Or lost. Lost. Lost is short. I don't really like lost. It might need that little bit of punch. The stars that show adventurers their path to sunken, to treasures. What about to treasures lost, to eons of the past, to treasures treasures lost of no in eons of the past. Not a fan, not completely sold on that. I do like that first line though. Path. What rhymes with path? Hearth, which is another home. Yeah, hearth. I think that's going to be the word that we use because that's another really, the hearth of your home. So hearth will be our rhyming word. My greatest fortune lies within my hearth. I suppose this is where you could kind of go path and heart, but we don't want that. So old and stray, old and stay, night and heart. Oh, yes, we've got heart and depart, so we can't have heart, but that's hearth, not hearth. Path and hearth. Am I saying that right? Oh. A floor of a fireplace, usually of stone brick, often extending a short distance into a room, home, or fireside. Yeah. Yep. Cool. So that's definitely the thing. Yeah. And pronounced hearth. Yeah. Sweet. Great. So path and hearth. Great rhyme. My greatest fortune lies within our hearth. Not mine, but our hearth, because we're doing this together. The thing that makes our home a home. Past. I've got depart. Stars that show adventurers their path. To treasures lost. To histories something. To histories something. A legend. What's another word for legend? Let's have a look. What's another word for legend? Let's go legend. Not rhyme zone. We'll go word for legend. Fable. Oh, fiction. Law. 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 Oh, black magic. Oh, I'm very, very excited about that camera. History's law. History's myth. either one of those. History's tales. I kind of like lore because then it might drive me to stay more. It's a very simple rhyme, but mythology, I could swap that out for me at the end. So yeah, they're good. So we got fictions, fables, history's old myth. Ooh, it's a rhyme for myth. Not much. Oh, with. Pith, frith, griff, swith. Lots of Jada Pinkett Smith. I don't think so, unless I was writing this as a personalised sonnet for Will. Death? What is death? Yeah, don't have addition. Yeah, so is it even a word? Oh, with. Forthwith. 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 Forthwith is a word. Without delay or hesitation and no time intervening. That could work really well. So if we went to history's old myths, the stars that show adventurers their path to treasures lost in history's old myths. That's kind of what the stars. So we're talking then, it's not about necessarily being, because then it brings up pirates and we're kind of sort of bringing up images of sailors and stuff, but that's not really what it's about. It's about the travel, and you'll get that sense as you go through, the stuff that light shines. It could take someone somewhere. This is all something that could take somebody somewhere, but I know forthwith is going to be a very weird ending to a word, to a line. I want to be careful not to go too much into any kind of boating terms or sailing terms or anything like that, because I don't want this to kind of become about boating or anything. So I'm not sure about myth and forthwith. I kind of like the idea that the stars that show adventurers their path to treasures lost in histories of old. I don't know. Oh, maybe just histories of old. We'll just. It kind of works. Do not. Did I use draw already? No. Good. So we've got the stars that show adventurers their path to treasures lost in histories of old. Do not to draw my desires away from here. Do not. Stars that show adventurers their path to treasures lost in histories of old. Love to kind of get a sense of, again, another reference to the stars, the constellations. I'm not sure that path and hearth is the rhyme that I want to use. I do like path, but it's a hard rhyme to word. Hearth. Wrath. Wrath. It could be said that way. Oh, can we get a trip? Can we get an alliteration with H in there? Do not to draw my heart from homebound hearth. That becomes more interesting. See, I'm so my greatest fortune. I kind of like that greatest fortune. The stars that show adventurers their path to treasures lost in histories of old. Do not to draw my heart from homebound hearth. No jewel or gold more precious than my broad? No, I don't think so. The stars that show adventurers their path to treasures lost in histories of old. Do naught to draw my heart from homebound hearth. Okay, I'm sold on that line now. That is staying. Oh my goodness, I actually really love that line. Do naught to draw my heart from homebound hearth. So old and myths. So we need to kind of get that second line, just the end of that to treasures lost, and we can kind of replace the second half of that line with anything really, because that the minute you go stars, adventurers, treasure, you're already thinking pirate ships, maps, treasure hunts, anything like that. I just don't want to make any particular comment or specific comment about it being in the sea, because it's really about the heavenly bodies. The stars that show adventurers their path to treasures lost in histories. Oh, that could be stories, that could be legends of the past. Legends of the past? Past? Oh, PAST, and then past as in PASSED. We get that that play on that. So we use the two different words for the exact same sound. I'm not a massive fan of that, but stars that show adventurers their path to treasures lost in histories of old myths, in histories, in stories, in legends. Treasures lost. Legends of the past. So we got path and past. Not a fan. Yeah. Definitely got path and hearth. So that's staying. So this is the one that's, so these are the two lines. And then the rhyming couplet is not right. And we kind of need to fix that. But we're kind of doing pretty well. We're kind of 2 hours in. So we're doing all right. The stars that show adventurers their path to treasures lost in histories of old. We could finish this with saying your eye, your heart has more value than gold. With you, I'm richer than if I had jewels or gold. You make my life richer than any jewel or gold. Make my life more rich than jewel or gold. That's going to be more like, you make my life more rich than jewel or gold. That's 10. To treasures lost in histories of old, do naught to draw my heart from homebound hearth. You make my life more rich than jewel or gold. Very explicit. That's actually, I just kind of threw that line in there, but it actually works. So if we went with that, the stars that show adventurers their path to treasures lost in histories of old do naught to draw my heart from homebound hearth. You make my life more rich than jewel or gold. In you, their heavenly bodies. No. Heavenly glory. Take one form. So if we went heavenly bodies, stars that show adventurers their path. Okay. I don't feel like that third quatrain really gives me a sense of the leaving and the fact that there's something wrong with that leaving, because that whole adventure thing is cool. So if we change histories of old, which I'm not super happy with histories of old. I want to add something in there that kind of adds a little bit of non-calm, a little bit of non structure, a little bit of non-stability in there. I want that line to change so that it's got a little bit more of a feeling that there's a risk, it's pointless, that you might not get what you want. Chase, to chase. To chase. To mindlessly chase. To chase the hidden treasures. I want the treasure needs to be a myth. So not histories of old. Maybe the histories becomes myths. How about to chase the treasures told in myths of old? So they're stories that are legends, but we don't know that they're true. The stars that show adventurers their path to chase the treasures told in myths of old. Do naught to draw my heart from homebound hearth. You make my life more rich than jewel or gold. I really want to get something that makes it absolutely feel like that leaving is a risk and staying is not. I think if I can do that, that'll just give it a little bit more oomph, a little bit more strength. The stars that show adventurers their path. To risk the chase of treasures told of old in myths of old. I love in myths of old. So can I get risk? Can I remove something and replace it with a risk? Risking, chasing, risk, risky, unknown. What is it? The unknown, uncertain. It's a risk. What do we got? What else? What's another word for risk? What else have we got? What else do we have? Let's go thesaurus. Risk. Risk, danger, exposure, hazard, liability, opportunity, peril. Yeah, see, it's kind of the fact that it's an unknown, the fact that you could gamble. To gamble. Chase the gamble. To gamble for. I like that. That one word kind of sums up the risk and the uncertainty, the fact that it's unstable, there's no guarantee. I like that. I think that's cool. To gamble. I don't know if for is the right word. To gamble after treasured myths of old. to gamble after myths of treasures told. After myths of treasures told. Kind of works. I mean, it's clear what you're saying there. You're going after treasures and their myths, and that's risky. And it's the myths of treasures that you've heard in stories. I think that kind of works. The stars that show adventurers their path, to gamble after myths of treasures told. Do naught to draw my heart from homebound hearth. You make my life more rich than jewel or gold. Do we want to put something in there that gives more of a sense of the fact that it's not just you, it's the fact that you bring stability, that you bring certainty? That you yeah, see this, damn it, this rhyming couplet concept is really great, but it actually doesn't fit with the rest of the sonnet now. So we need to find something else that says all these things that draw me from you, draw me away. Something like magnetic. We don't really kind of go magnetic. It's the, yeah. It's that sense of, you know, there could be a feeling of, you know, the heavenly bodies want us to follow them. They oh yeah. Okay. Let me get that down. The heavenly bodies bid us to pursue. But they could never draw me far from you. Cool. So I need to make this less about you and my life, and this just about the whole state of staying. There is a risk if I go out there and do anything. I could go out there and could meet anyone else, but that would be a risk because I have perfection found in you. So not sure that this, I'm going to give it a different color. I'm not sure. Give that an orange. Is there an orange? There's not an orange. I'll give it that greeny blue color. The stars that show adventurers their path. Show? Not sold on show. Show. What's another word for show? Show. Array expose. Synonyms for show. Demonstration exhibition. Yeah, no. act, affection, bit, chase, fake, false, no. Affirm, publicize for the purpose of selling, advise, blues, blazing, herald, herald, stars that herald. No. It's not really. So we kind of want to say that it's not really a path. In a way, it's not really a path. The stars that show adventurers their path. Adventurers is really the focus of that line. Well, it's the stars, really. The stars that show adventurers their path. I mean, other people probably aren't going to dwell on it quite so much as I am. Stars that show adventurers their path. Because the minute you change that verb, it almost means that you've got to change the structure of the sentence, which means that moving the word path from the end is going to make less sense. Or having path at the end is going to make less sense. You need to have the noun, the adventurers needs to be there. So it's another word for show. But it needs to be an active word. I'm going to show you this. I mean, reveal, unveil. The stars that unveil. Yeah, see, that's, they unveil the path, but you show the adventurer. You reveal the path, but you show the adventurer. Yeah, it has to stay. There's no other word I can think of right now that I could replace the word show with. What else can you do to the adventurer that give adventurers their path? And then we get the give and the gamble. How have the others kind of... I know, from your soul's luster I would ne'er depart. The brightness of your soul doth make me stay. So we've got soul and soul. Have we got heart? Let's get this together. I should have done this earlier. Oh yeah, to draw my heart from... So some will let it lead them into plight from your soul's luster. Well, maybe here we say loves. So we don't have two souls. The brightness of your soul, because we talk about souls having an aura, bright, that kind of thing. The brightness of your soul doth make me stay. From your love's luster I would ne'er depart. Again, the alliteration, which is great, and it's a love poem. So having the word love in there would be fine. And the fact that we acknowledge that you love us and I'm not leaving that. The stars that show adventurers their path to gamble after. maybe it's not just show, maybe it's give. Stars that give adventurers their path to gamble after myths of treasures told. Do naught to draw my heart from homebound hearth. See, that heart needs to be there because then there's no heart up there. Yeah, so we've got soul, love, heart. That's all cool because I don't think we've got I don't think that we have. So if we control F, we go control F, find. I'm going to go heart. So we'll have to go a lover's heart. Do naught to draw my heart from homebound hearth. I kind of, again, it's in a different context, so you don't notice it so much. And again, it's a love poem, so having the word heart in there twice may not be a bad thing. Did I use draw? I don't know, to guide a lover's heart, though some will let it lead them into plight. So we're being guided by this moonlight. And some would take that romantic moonlight and let it lead them to bad news, bad things. From your love's lustre I would ne'er depart. The stars that give adventurers their path to gamble after myths of treasures told. Do naught to draw my heart from homebound hearth. Told. So it's the brightness of your soul doth make me stay. From your love's lustre I would ne'er depart. So it's your something. Let's Control Y. Let's get that line out for the moment. And let's go no color on that one. Oh, let's go with the blue. The stars that give adventurers their path to gamble after myths of treasures told. Do naught to draw my heart from homebound hearth. The certainty of you. What else do you have? You have your soul, your love. I can't use heart again. I've used it twice now in two different stanzas. Doth still love to guide a lover's heart. I love the alliteration of heart. And part, but let me change that to I. Stars that give adventurers their path to gamble after myths of treasures told. Do naught to draw my eye from homebound hearth. I like that better. I love the alliteration of the heart, homebound and hearth, but homebound hearth is still alliteration. I do like to get 3 in a line if I can, because I just think it really helps the alliteration pop. But in this case, I like the fact that we're looking to the stars. That's what we're doing. We're being guided by that. But your eye will not wander. So then is it your your vision more rich than any jewel or gold. It's going to be too long. I like more rich than jewel or gold. The brightness of your soul doth make me stay. From your love's lustre I would ne'er depart. Your make my life. I think I need a 3-syllable word, a single 3-syllable word there. Let's go thesaurus. Let's go vision. Your perceiving optic sight. Cutie acumen. Your appearance. I don't really want to make it about appearance necessarily. I don't really want to make it about appearance if I can help it. It's more about I've got 4 syllables. I don't like vision. Stability. Let's see what. Oh, this is going to sound weird, but see if there's a word that kind of has a double meaning. Balance, cohesion, establishment, security, strength, support. Balance, stability, poise, self-control, composure, dignity. Soul, heart. No, soul, love. Stars that give adventurers their path to gamble after myths of treasures told. Do naught to draw my eye from homebound hearth. Is it more, I have no need for any jewel or gold? No, I think something about you is more rich than is it your love? Your love to me more rich than jewel or gold. Again, we've got love up there twice. From your love's lustre I would ne'er depart. All right, well, what's another word for love in some of these contexts? Devotion, fondness, friendship, respect. How about just you? You are to me more rich than jewel or gold, or you make me feel more rich. Yeah. That's all right. You make me feel more rich than jewel or gold. Yeah, so then it's coming back to what you do for me. You make me feel more rich than jewel or gold. You make me feel more rich than any jewel or gold could do. I like that. I think that works. Okay. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I stay. Stray. That's important, stray. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I stray. Yet when my foot doth move to cross threshold, the brightness of your soul doth make me stay. The softest light that shines forth from the night doth sit aloft to guide a lover's heart. Though some will let it lead them into plight, from your love's lustre I would ne'er depart. The stars that guide, the stars that give adventurers their path, to gamble after myths of treasures told, do naught to draw my eye from homebound hearth. You make me feel more rich than jewel or gold. Yes, yes, yes. That is the line. Heavenly bodies that constantly transform. I kind of like that. You hold their heavenly glory in one form. Oh, how about you are? You are all their glory in one form. Because that second line is too long. Unless I was to go heaven. Where is it? I think it goes there. Heavenly glory. Is that right? Is that the right way to do it? Hello, Google. Heavenly Wiktionary. Yeah, there you go. Adjective poetic, alternative spelling of heavenly. That is correct. And it cheats us into getting one less syllable. Is the whole point of it. I think we're done. So, our first Valentine's Day sonnet. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I stray. Yet when my foot doth move to cross threshold, the brightness of your soul doth make me stay. The softest light that shines forth from the night doth sit aloft to guide a lover's heart, though some will let it lead them into plight, from your love's lustre I would ne'er depart. The stars that give adventurers their path to gamble after myths of treasures told do naught to draw my eye from homebound hearth. You make me feel more rich than jewel or gold. Heavenly bodies that constantly transform, you hold their heavenly glory in one form. So here's an interesting thing. Do they constantly transform? Will it be understood that by that we mean that day goes and night comes, and then night goes and day comes, and that the stars twinkle and they're not a constant light? Because in a way they kind of are. Heavenly bodies that constantly transform, like the sun is always the sun, and it itself doesn't seem to change. The moon does change its shape as it moves about the sun. And the stars do move across the sky. So they are moving. So it kind of works. And we're kind of, I mean, I guess we can be a little poetical in that, saying that, in a way we're saying that they all are changeable, and yet you have managed to get all of it into something that will not change. Can we get another rhyme for form? What would that do for us? If we were to find another rhyme for form, I don't think there was much. Inform, reform, conform, conform, storm. I don't know that I could make storm work. Constantly reform. That could work. Rather than transform is reform. Because to reform something means that it's changing. Oops, reform. I did mean reform. Yes. Amend, improve, rebuild. That's what I'm thinking. They constantly rebuild themselves. So rather than constantly, can we say day and night reform? So rather than it being constant, we want to pull the consistency out of them because the consistency is in you. That's what's not sitting right with that. That day and night reform. And we might change that from heavenly in there because we've got heavenly up in the top one. Yet you hold all their glory in one form. Let's go back to that. And that's certainly going to be easier for someone to understand. Heavenly bodies that day and night reform. Well, let's take that out. Let's go these heavenly bodies, comma, day and night reform. Which makes people go, yeah, day comes, night comes, day comes, night comes. Each day and night they turn over and they reform. Yet you hold all their glory in one form. You don't change. You are consistent. Okay, so let's have a final read. 2.5-ish hours. We're not too bad in. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I stray. Yet when my foot doth move to cross threshold, the brightness of your soul doth make me stay. The softest light that shines forth from the night doth sit aloft to guide a lover's heart. Though some will let it lead them into plight, from your love's lustre I would ne'er depart. The stars that give adventurers their path to gamble after myths of treasures told do naught to draw my eye from homebound hearth. You make me feel more rich than jewel or gold. These heavenly bodies day and night reform, yet you hold all their glory in one form. That's all right. I don't think there'd be a lot of people that got that in a card that would be upset. There's some pretty clear lines in there. The brightness of your soul doth make me stay. From your love's lustre I would ne'er depart. You make me feel more rich than jewel or gold. You hold all their glory in one form. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. There we go. All right, and so just for the purposes of a timestamp, let me go back to this and let me read this out so that it's in a single reading and I can timestamp that in the description below for anybody that's like, I don't want to watch 2.5 hours of how you write that sonnet. I just want to see what the end result was. So here we go. Valentine's Day Sonnet Number One. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I stray. Yet when my foot doth move to cross threshold, the brightness of your soul doth make me stay. The softest light that shines from forth the night. It's forth from, that shines forth from the night. I might put a little comma after that. Okay. So this will be the timestamp attempt 2. Valentine's Day Sonnet Number 1. Each day the sun lights all that I behold, allowing me to choose where'er I stray. Yet when my foot doth move to cross threshold, the brightness of your soul doth make me stay. The softest light that shines forth from the night doth sit aloft to guide a lover's heart, though some will let it lead them into plight. From your love's lustre I would ne'er depart. The stars that give adventurers their path to gamble after myths of treasures told do naught to draw my eye from homebound hearth. You make me feel more rich than jewel or gold. These heavenly bodies day and night reform, yet you hold all their glory in one form. Yep, that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. All right. So there you go. Thanks very much. And as I mentioned earlier, if you want to use that, feel free to copy and write it out into a card. But if you want to actually purchase it in a digitally colored, original hand-drawn border, then head over to the Etsy store, which is linked in the description below, and you can purchase it. It'll be downloaded as a high-quality PDF that you can print in Australia, we call it A4. In America, it's 8x11 or double that at still very high resolution. So you could actually print it even bigger than that if you wanted, but it'll definitely be that. I don't know if it's called A3 in Australia. Two 8x11s together is an A3, whatever that size is. So imagine two 8x11 pages together on the long sides. That would be, you could print it in that size, which is a great size, and it would look awesome. But yeah, there you go. We're going to do a Mother's Day sonnet soon, and I've got a couple of others on the boil that I'll be doing some live streams for as well. So feel free to hang out, subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of Shakespeare stuff on this channel, but also basically just family entertainment stuff. So it's a bit of a mix. It's not a pure niche channel like a lot of them are. But if you're interested in seeing some more stuff like this, then I encourage you to come back. Thanks very much. I'll see you soon.